In today's video, I'll be sharing a recent story from my journeys with TNR, Trap, Neuter, Release. I work independently to trap cats in my city and take them to get fixed. It's a fun and rewarding hobby if you don't mind the risk of cat scratch fever, but it can also be emotionally draining, demanding, and sometimes even heartbreaking. This story is all three of those. Today, I will be telling you the story of two sisters we trapped together and how releasing them didn't go according to plan. But before we get into that, welcome to the Kennel Chronicles. I'm your host, Logan, and this beautiful ball chaser is Shayla. Shayla is a beautiful German Shepherd mix who's around a year old. She was originally a stray, but a family found her and brought her to Fayette County Animal Shelter in West Virginia. She's very bright, full of energy, and loves a good play session. What more could you want from a gorgeous shepherd mix like her? She's also great with kids. However, she is dog selective and not a fan of cats. She would fit in well with slow introductions to dogs who aren't too pushy. If you're interested in adopting this girl, all her information will be in the description below. Now, let's get into today's story. It was late August when we first found them. 3 small scraps of fur curled up in the nick of their mother's belly. The leaves had yet to change, but the air had a tinge that threatened an early winter. At this time, I had never successfully trapped cats on my own. I did volunteer work with the local colonies in our area, but this was different. I would be alone. On that day, we had to leave them behind. But as the days passed, the weather grew colder. Every morning, frost formed on the grass that yearned to be covered by leaf litter. When we went to visit the kittens again, we started surveying the area and coming up with a plan. With some cheap totes and a bag of straw, we built cat houses and set them up in the foliage. And to our surprise, the cats actually used them. This was a huge win, because it meant the cats would be warm for the winter. It was at this time we noted there were only 2 kittens. The third one was nowhere to be seen. To this day, I still have no idea what happened to the third kitten. I can only hope someone else found her. At this point, the kittens were still very young. They were old enough to walk, but still stumbling over their own paws. And this was when we were told something that made our plans much more difficult. The property manager seen what we were doing and wanted the cats gone. This meant when we trapped them, they would have nowhere to return to. To make matters worse, the store that helped us feed them shut down. We were suddenly their only support system. We needed to act fast if we wanted these cats to be saved. So the very next day, we loaded up my car with food, toys, traps, and cat carriers. The 30-minute drive felt like hours as I thought of all the different things that may have happened to these kittens overnight. When we got there, I was delighted to see the 2 kittens with their mother and father close by. Now, these 2 kittens couldn't have been more different. The tuxedo kitten was bold, curious, and playful. Her sister, on the other hand, was cautious. She watched my every move and stayed far away as I set up. She was the first one we caught. We transferred her into a carrier and reset the trap, but the little Tux was too smart. She avoided the trap and somehow even managed to get food without setting it off. After a few hours of trying, we had to improvise. With some cat gloves and a bit of patience, we finally caught her. This took 2 days total. 1 day of trying and 1 day of success. We brought the 2 home and set them up in a large cage with old clothes and a heater to keep them warm. They lived out there until their vet appointment, and during that time, we made a huge mistake. The biggest mistake you can make when doing TNR. We gave them names, Solstice and Equinox. We started chatting with them, saying their names when we brought them food, water, and fresh litter. Solstice even let us hold her. Little by little, they got used to us. When it was time for their vet visit, we brought them in one at a time. They got their shots, ears tipped, and dewormed. By then, it was the dead of winter. The kind of cold that turns your cheeks a rosy red and makes your face go numb within minutes. What kind of monsters would release 2 kittens in the dead of winter like that? Not to mention, we still needed to catch their parents. So, they ended up inside. The garage was simply too cold for them. At first, they stayed inside their cage, just like before. But as time went on, they got curious and needed more space. We slowly introduced them to our cats, and well, they're ours now. This was probably the best outcome for them. When we went back to trap their parents, the whole area was destroyed. I still don't know if they survived, and that part hurts. The idea of separating kittens from their parents still breaks my heart, but at least they have each other. They are happy, healthy, and have somehow even won over our older cats, who weren't the biggest fan of kittens. Now they're about a year old and still full of energy. So that's one of many stories from my TNR adventures. I hope you enjoyed it. Solstice and Equinox sure did. Here's the finished artwork of Shayla. It might not be my best piece yet, but I think it captures her well. If you're interested in fostering, adopting, or even donating to Fayette County Animal Shelter, all of their and Shayla's information will be in the description. And if you can't adopt or donate right now, you can still help by liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel so more people can find animals in need. Remember, you never know how you can change an animal's life by doing the simplest thing. This was probably the best outcome for them. Ugh. Every morning, frost formed on the grass that yearned to be covered by leaf litter.